Hi, everyone. Welcome to Two Guys Talking Sports. Jordan, it was a rough trip for you. I told it was going to be a rough trip for you.
Is that the first thing that you were supposed to do when we let in, or were you supposed to do something else?
We ain't talking about it yet.
Well, I think it's time to talk about it.
All right. Let's talk about college football. College football segment is going to be presented by Anderson Brothers Bank and Pope's Furniture. Let's jump into it, Jordan. Clemson takes on Pittsburgh, and it happened just like we thought it would.
Yeah, Clemson they can't seem to find their groove this year. Switch quarterbacks into the game, still nothing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems going on with Clemson offense. They can't score. Carolina can't either.
Yeah. So. 27-17 loss for Clemson. They did take on a very tough Pittsburgh team. Pitt was coming into this game, I think, with one loss maybe, ranked, and it was at Pittsburgh. So tough day again for DJ. 12 of 25, 128 yards and 2 picks. They did get Will Shipley back. You know, you think that would help. He got 10 carries for 52 yards. So
he's got to find his groove. He's got to get back into it. You can't expect him to come out and throw up 150, 170 rushing yards.
Definitely. And then, like you said, they put in a new quarterback at the end of the game. And I saw a meme on Facebook, that people it's taken them weeks and weeks and weeks to learn how to say DJ's last name. Throwing a quarterback here, and I ain't even got a clue how to pronounce that last name.
Me and you were sitting down yesterday. We were trying to figure out how to pronounce it. We were going to
had to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Get somebody to tell us. They said it on YouTube, and you said, nah, that still ain't it. Can't be it.
Not right.
So there's no telling who they're going to start coming up next this week against FSU. I'm sure they'll run DJ back out there. But at some point, if he's not producing, they may just have to give it to the other kid. I'm not even going to try with that name and just see what he could do the rest of the year. But Will Shipley coming back, like you said, he does got to get in the group, but I think that is going to help them.
That does help Clemson. So he's carried them until he got hurt. They need to give him more carries. Yeah. He needs to be a vital part of this offense.
Right. I know coming off of that injury, they didn't want to put too much of a load on him. But over the next few weeks, they're pretty much going to have to sit it on his shoulders and say, hey, people compared you to Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have to do Christian McCaffrey things and carry this team until you just can't do it anymore.
Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy either. So.
Yeah, he can't. So that's that catch-22. And it's kind of hard when your best player is Will Shipley on the team, but you also can't ride him so hard that, he can't make it to the end of the year.
He falls apart.
So tough loss for Clemson. They get to 4-3 on the year. They'll take on FSU this coming up week. I think that's a game that they should be able to win.
That's a must-win.
Yeah,
not a should be able to. That's a must-win.
It's definitely a must-win, but I don't foresee them losing this one. We thought that they might lose to Syracuse. They almost did. We called them losing to Pitt. They lost that game. So, but I think that Clemson wins this FSU game. They're favored by 9.5, but I think it'll still. They haven't covered the spread all year. Clemson is 0-7 against the spread, so I don't see them covering it this week. But I do.
You can play a
lot
lot into the spread if you want to, but you look at South Carolina, how big of a spread they were against Vanderbilt, and you see how they had to squeak it out at the end of the game. So I wouldn't put too much attention on that spread. I think Clemson doesn't need to focus on that. They need to go down. They need to get the X's and O's. They need to play football.
Just get one game. FSU has been just bad the last few years. They've almost been a better version of Vanderbilt in the ACC the last few years. Right. But I could see this being one of those games that Clemson throws a last-second touchdown pass to win it, and the fans are mad because it wasn't pretty, similar to the South Carolina-Vanderbilt game, but at the end of the day, a win is a win.
And where's that game at? Is it in Florida or is it?
It's in Clemson, and Clemson is going to recognize Bobby Bowden. After his passing, they're going to recognize him. It's a Bobby Bowden day. And Tommy Bowden will be back at Clemson for the first time.
Both schools, they have long Bowden legacy. So.
Yeah. So this will be Tommy Bowden's first time back at Clemson since they let him go when Dabo Swinney took over. So there'll be a lot of emotions around this game, and it's definitely a game that Clemson needs. Like you said, this is a have to. They got to win this one.
Yeah.
South Carolina travels down to Texas A&M, and you traveled down there with them, and y'all both came back with losses.
You're right, but it was a great trip.
As long as you had fun, I guess. But the Gamecocks did not.
One of the nicest, if not the nicest, college football stadium that I've been to. Yeah. I can think of a couple pro stadiums that were a little nicer, but everyone down there super polite. We're being invited to tailgates. We were tailgating with the A&M crowd.
They probably felt bad for you.
Well,
y'all come over here and eat some barbecue before we whip your tail.
No, it was Cajun. It was Cajun Day at one of the tailgates we stopped by, and they had a spread.
44-14 loss, and this one got out of hand quick.
It got out of hand when we punted the ball in the first quarter.
Yeah. I had set up 2 TVs because the Braves were too busy advancing to the World Series, and that was more important.
We're not talking about the Braves. We're talking about South Carolina and Texas
my
A&M.
second TV, I had the Gamecock games on. They scored a touchdown. Then we go to punt. They run that punt back. I said, I ain't going to pay attention to this. I didn't even realize until I put the score on paper today that we actually scored touchdowns this weekend.
Right.
I could have swore we got shut out.
No, it was late in the game when we scored those touchdowns. So those were probably their JV squad that they got.
Yeah. It was really bad. I do remember seeing on Twitter about the third quarter that we had only gotten 15 yards on offense.
We could not move the ball. It didn't matter what we did. We could not move the ball. The fans at Texas A&M, they were in the game the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't see at Williams-Brice. I can't say about Clemson, but you don't see that at Williams-Brice. Yeah. They keep the fans engaged. The fans, it was great.
Yeah. Jason Brown comes in the game relieving Zeb Nolan. He was 8 of 14 for 84 yards and a touchdown, 2 picks. Zamir White, 8 carries.
Wait. Let's back this up. He threw for 84 yards and 2 interceptions.
Yeah. He threw almost as many completions to the other team as he did to South Carolina. Zamir White was the leading rusher, 8 carries, 59 yards. Like you said, South Carolina just couldn't move the ball through the air.
This had to be in the second half because in the first half we did nothing.
Yeah, like I said, this was all fourth quarter stats because third quarter I was looking on Twitter, 15 net yards on offense. That's nothing. So also Zeb Nolan ends up tearing his meniscus at some point. I'm not sure if it was this game or. Pretty sure it was this game. He's going to have surgery on that, but they say that he's going to be ready after the bye week.
He's not expected to miss any time.
So those meniscus, depending on how severe it is, might just be a little cleanup, and he's back out there. But if it's me, Zeb Nolan isn't going to be here on this team next year.
Nope.
Not at quarterback at least. He may be back on the coaching staff as a grad assistant or something like that. But if it was me, I think I would just go ahead and roll with Jason Brown.
What year is Jason Brown?
Well, he's transferred in. I think he's still got 2 or 3 years left that he'll be with the Gamecocks. So at least get some experience for a kid that will be here next year. Because more than likely, with the way the schedule's looking, you might get one more win.
South Carolina
might get one more win.
South Carolina needs to get on the recruiting trail. They need to get on it hard and
Beamer did say, it is South Carolina's bye week this week. He is looking forward to just getting away from the day-to-day practice and just go out and recruit.
He's looking forward to getting away from getting his tail beat every week in and week out.
That's
both sides of the ball.
So South Carolina will take on that bye just like Clemson did the other week. And hopefully, we talk about winning the bye. And the way that you can win the bye is by coming out the following week and looking better than you did going into the bye, which Clemson didn't after their bye.
A Florida Gators team at 7:30 in Williams-Brice.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. I do know Florida isn't looking quite as crisp as we thought they, were going into the season.
Well, hold on. Don't just say that Florida's regressing. We are regressing.
Oh, no. I said they don't look as crisp. But yeah, definitely. The Gamecocks.
They're going in the wrong direction.
When you're in a rebuild, you want to see just improvement. You can say, okay, we're going to take our lumps, we're going to take our losses, but at least let's improve as we go along. The Gamecocks are getting worse. They definitely look better in the first 4 games than they had the last 4 games. We are going
backwards, sir.
Yeah, so not a good week for the Gamecocks. Luckily, they do get that bye week.
Not a good week for anybody in the state of South Carolina, it looks like.
Not a single team. At least the 3 teams that we cover didn't win this week. Coastal, 5-0, went down to App State, and this was the game that we had talked about.
On Wednesday night.
That Bradley had mentioned to us. This was the game that would really tell you what Coastal was.
Circled on the schedule.
Yep. They went down there, and for the most part, Coastal was winning the game. End of the game, lose it. 30-27, and
I didn't check the stat, but I heard it. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think this kind of puts Coastal in perspective for you though, because they said that's the only team that Coastal had played that had a winning record. So how good?
Pretty sure that's probably about right.
So how good is Coastal?
Probably at the time when you look, hindsight, yeah. Obviously, when you play a team week 2, they could be 1-1, something like that.
Right, but going into this game, that was the only team they played that still had a winning record.
Right. I still think Coastal's a very good team.
I don't think they were the 14th team in the nation.
Probably not. But at the time, the way they were looking, they were. Again, sometimes it's competition, that kind of makes you look the way that you do. Grayson Mccall, 15 to 23, 291 and a touchdown.
He's still very efficient.
Yeah, not his greatest game, but they had to put a lot on his shoulders because 55
Gamecock fans would kill for a game like that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, Clemson fans would too.
293 yards through the air.
Yeah, everyone would. He threw for more yards than Gamecock and Clemson quarterbacks combined this week. So
sounds about right.
Grayson Mccall is still doing Grayson Mccall things. I think the bad part for Coastal's offense this week was out of the 90 running backs that they had, they combined for 55 total rushing yards.
And that is very uncharacteristic for a Coastal team.
Usually you see Coastal with 2 running backs that are 90 plus or 100 plus, and they're getting 250 yards as a team on the ground. 55 rushing yards. I think that App State went in with a plan that, they're a very good rushing team. Sell out on the run and make Grayson Mccall have to beat you.
He didn't have a bad game through there.
Didn't have a bad game. It's just I don't think he had as many opportunities to win the game.
Right.
So tough loss for Coastal. They'll fall to 5-1 on the year. They'll take on Troy and
we got to wrap
on
this
Thursday
up.
night.
We had 10 minutes on this.
It'll be all right. CCU is going to be favored this week going into Troy. I think they'll get back on the path of winning. They'll probably win out the rest of the year, but like you said, this was the only team that they faced with a winning record. It's not going to look good. They did fall to number 24. So that wraps up our college segment. We're going to roll right into high school recap. And the high school recap is presented by the City of Dillon Wellness Center and Golf Course. So if you want to work out, you want to swing some sticks.
I've seen you play. You ain't very good.
Well, you ain't much better. Let's jump into it. Dillon was on a bye, so we'll just move on from them.
Dillon wins.
Yep. Lakeview 6-2 took on Waccamaw 1-5, and boy, I did not expect this.
Right.
22-20. Overtime win.
What you also haven't been expecting is Lakeview's had a lot of kids out.
Yeah.
Lakeview's. I think they're going to be back to full strength this week, or they're hoping to, if not down just one starter. But Lakeview's down some kids right now. Yeah,
they're definitely going to need to get back healthy because this coming up week is the last week going into playoffs, and Lakeview's got a heck of a test coming up against them in Green Sea Floyd's.
Right.
We say it all the time. It might not have been pretty, but they did win the football game.
Lakeview wins.
Yeah. So Lakeview gets the win. Latta at Lee Central, 36-7.
What, Stephen? What you got to say?
Pretty sure that you tried to say that you picked Latta, and actually that was last week's game. That's a mess up there. Latta took on Mullins.
So why did you even say that?
I just wanted to remind you that you picked Latta. I mean, that you picked Latta.
I saw the little video they made when I said, no.
Cut.
Yeah. Okay.
Cut.
You're right. That was nice.
Latta took on.
About all the times you've been wrong on in just one episode.
Too long of a video.
Yeah.
Latta took on Mullins. Mullins got the victory 22-8, and this was a crucial game.
It was
because the winner of this game got into the playoffs.
Who'd you take?
Pretty sure I took Latta.
Who'd I take?
Took Mullins.
Right. We back where we need to be. We back on the winning track over here.
Yeah, so we flip-flop. So, crucial game, like I just said, Mullins gets the victory. They go into the playoffs. Latta will not make the playoffs this year. Tough year for the Vikings.
So, a 2-win Mullins team beat out a 1-win Latta team.
To get into the playoffs. Yep. And I think,
congratulations to the auctioneers for making it to the playoffs this year.
I think it kind of can be the same way for DCS. I think they had to win one of these last 2 games.
I thought you said they had to win both of them.
I was told either both or one of, so I'm not really sure, and it kind of depends on what the other teams did. But before we get to DCS, Marion took on East Clarendon, did what we thought Marion was going to do. They finish up their season.
Marion's a good team right now.
Yeah, Marion 8-0. They went through that little patch in the middle where it was close games. They barely snuck out some wins. Right. But like we kept saying, Marion, good football team. They're gonna get back to what they were doing, and they did this week, wrapping up their season 35-6. They should be home field advantage in the playoffs, at least for a week or 2. So they finished the season undefeated. Congratulations to the Swamp Foxes. They're trying to get back to that state championship game. So hopefully they can
won
pull
the
it
region as well.
Yep. Region champs, undefeated. That's one way to go into the playoffs, and a bye week going into the playoffs. Most teams, even if you're playing a poor team at the end, you're still having to go out there, risk injury.
You just hope that you don't end up seeing a team that has has done something like this all year long. They've continued to win. They've continued to play, and then something happens and they're not full strength in the playoffs. They get put out early for various reasons. Like you don't want to see a lot of that season end that way.
It is kind of a catch-22 with that bye because you're kind of rolling right now.
Right.
And then you get that bye and you may catch a team in the playoffs as that 1 seed who just did sneak in on maybe a game winner or something like that. And they're riding high where you're just kind of been off for 2 weeks.
But the bye can also help you. It can help get everybody back healthy. It gives you that week off, gives you 2 weeks to game plan. I don't know if they know who they'll be playing yet or not, but I'm sure they have a couple names floating around that they can start game planning them for.
Yeah, I think, and you kind of see this right now with Marion and Lakeview. Lakeview would probably love to have the bye right now to get healthy going into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Marion, on the other hand, might want to continue playing just to keep riding that wave going into the playoffs. So
Lakeview needs some time off. They need to get healthy. They need to get some players back.
So congratulations again to the Swamp Foxes. PD was on a bye this week. They'll go in and play Carolina to wrap the season up. DCS 1-6, traveled down to Christian Academy 1-3, and they just went back and forth.
It was a shootout.
60-54.
Shootout.
And I'm not sure. I know that DCS was playing a few 8th graders. That have been on JV all year.
They're banged up. The numbers are low. It hasn't been easy for the Christian school this year.
No, it hasn't. And, it doesn't get any easier when you go down and you know that you got a chance for the playoffs if you either win 2 or win 1 of 2.
I saw some clips of that game. Did you see what their field looked like?
No. Was it bad?
They had scissor lights.
I told you that last week. They have construction lights.
They do. Construction lights.
Yeah. I tried to tell you it was really bad.
I thought you were kidding.
It was a bad field.
How do you play a football game or something like that?
And, did you ever go to where they used to play?
No.
They used to play right behind Myrtle Beach High School on a turf field, beautiful lights. The field would glisten under those lights.
The videos that I saw of that field, there was nothing glistening. Nothing. It was dark. It was these lights that these boys got in here set up for us. Y'all should have let them borrow them.
Did they have a man on the lights moving them?
No,
players.
No.
Did you just hit some dark spots as you were
got
running?
your field set up like this right here, and then you got like scissor lights here, scissor lights here, scissor lights here, like just coming down the side. And I'm like, what is this?
All they needed was some jackhammer noises in the background.
Right, and you had a haunted house or whatever.
I guess they just wanted you to know that the field is still under construction.
It is. It is.
I told you. I was told that the field was bad and that they used construction lights. So
you didn't lie. I'll give you that.
60-54 loss for the Warriors. That's a tough one, especially like I said. You get those 8th graders, and they've been on JV all year, and now they want to contribute. Obviously, they were. Somebody was doing something.
So you move your 8th graders up. You say, "Come on, guys, you can contribute and bring your flashlight."
Yeah, pretty much. Put some headlamps on. So DCS gets a loss again. I'm not sure if they had to win both of these games or if it's just 1 of 2. So they still may have a chance for the playoffs, and DCS will have to take on Kings this week. So it might be another shootout, but I do know that Kings is at Kings, and they will have better lighting.
Yeah, they'll have better lighting. They have stadium lights there.
Yeah, been to Kings Field before. They'll have better lighting. So speaking of next week's games, let's jump into our picks. And the picks this week are presented by Dillon Internal Medicine and First Citizens Bank. Jordan, not a full slate this week. Some teams, like we mentioned, do have some buys in the last week of the season, and this is the last week of the regular season. So now it's, some teams know, like Dillon, they know they're getting in the playoffs. Right. It's kind of where we're going to fall, home field advantage throughout, how many games are going to have to go away, that kind of deal. So you still want to play hard and win these games. And I think Dillon will continue rolling 5-0. They're taking on Manning, who is 1-5.
Yeah, I'll take the Wildcats. I don't see them stumbling with Manning, and if they do, that would be a huge upset.
Yeah, I think this will be get our players some touches early, let them, just kind of take it as a practice game and then get them out.
Leave your helmet in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah. A tough one this week for Lakeview. Like you said, they're banged up. They're coming off a very hard-fought win, 22-20 against Walkmall in overtime. And they're not getting rewarded with an easy game going into the last week of the season. They got to take on a 5-1 Green Sea Floyds.
Right. Green Sea Floyds is coming off a win against Hannah Pimlico. Didn't Hannah Pimlico beat Lakeview?
I believe so. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for Lakeview.
Green Sea is coming off a win against Hannah Pimlico. But with that being said, don't count the Gators out. They're getting some people back. They're coming back. They're going to be healthy, and you can't count the Gators out late in the year. Give me the Gators.
I'm gonna take Green C. Floyd. Like I said, they're coming off a victory. Lakeview is coming off a very hard-fought game. I'm gonna go with Green C. Floyd.
Okay.
Marion, like we said earlier, they're on a bye this week. They'll go into the playoffs undefeated. Mullins is on a bye this week. They won 2 games this year, and they're going to just kind of limp into the playoffs, I guess.
So last week was win or go home for Mullins, and they said we're going to win.
Yeah. Win or go home for Latta, too. Winner take all. Mullins said, we'll take it all. We'll go into the playoffs. Y'all have a nice rest of the fall. Latta will have to play one more week, though. They'll take on Johnsonville. Latta 1-7, Johnsonville 3-3, and they got to travel to Johnsonville.
Yeah, what's Johnsonville's mascot? The Flashes?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the Flashes.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Johnsonville on this one as well. PD Academy 7-1, coming off a bye week. They will take on Carolina Academy 3-3, and this could be one of those region setup. Who's playing who in the playoffs? Who gets home field advantage? Who are you going with on this one?
Didn't Christian beat Carolina Academy?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going with PD Academy then.
Yeah, I'm going to go with PD Academy as well. I think that they're going to, come off the bye week. They're going to be well rested. They'll have a good game plan, and they'll want to go into the playoffs strong. So I'll take the Eagles. DCS 1-6 will travel down to Kings. It'll be better lighting this week. Maybe that'll help the Warriors get a win.
Warriors don't let me down. I hope it gets you in the playoffs. I'm gonna pick the Warriors.
I'm going to pick the Warriors as well. They put up some points this past week, and they did it, not being able to see the entire field.
Right.
So we'll see. Maybe I know that that JV team was pretty good this year for the Warriors.
Yes.
And there was a lot of talent on that team. They brought up some of those 8th graders, and it looks like they may be contributing.
But as much as you say that, how many 8th graders does it take to compete with these seniors and these juniors? I mean, you're not in the same class. I mean, you have a lot to learn between 8th and 11th, 12th grade.
You're right. But I hope the Warriors win this week. Maybe they can squeak into the playoffs.
I'm pulling for the Warriors.
South Carolina is on a bye this week.
All right, can't lose.
Can't lose this week. The Washington football team probably needs a bye here soon because they can't buy a win.
Oh, I knew that was coming. That was a good one.
You're lucky. I'm not going to say it this week because them boys, they were on a bye this week.
Them boys
was on a bye this week. So I ain't going to hit you with it this week. Coastal Carolina plays Thursday night. 7:30.
They don't know what night they want to play football.
They don't.
Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday. They'll do it on all of them.
The following week, it's on a Monday night.
Ain't no way.
No.
Ain't no way.
I think they finally do get back to Saturdays the following week. But 7:30 on a Thursday night, Coastal's favored by 18.5 points.
Yeah, I'll take the Chanticleers, but they're not going to cover that.
I'm going to take the Chanticleers, and I think they cover, and I think they come out exploding on offense. They're going to run the ball a lot this week. Those running backs are going to be ready to get they're going to be ready to get back on track. Clemson 4-3 will take on Florida State 3-4, 3:30 game. Clemson's favored 9.5, and this is the recognition of Bobby Bowden. You got, all the Bowdens will be there this week.
Too many
emotional games.
Too many emotions, not enough focus. Give me the Seminoles. Clemson falls again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seminoles as well. Mm-hmm. Clemson ain't showing me nothing to say that they're gonna win.
Nope.
And we don't know who they're gonna play at quarterback. Ukulele, Pomachek, whatever his name is.
Yet. We had it figured out the other day. I can't remember what
it starts with a PH. I don't know. And there's a lot of M's and a couple of A's and a CH in there somewhere.
Which it seems like you got it spelled. You can't say it though.
Yeah, no, sure can't. I'm going to go with the Seminoles on this one.
All right.
That wraps up our show. Any questions? Anything in the lives? I know this much. Braves is winning the World Series starting tonight.
Where's your pearls at?
I'll put them on as soon as I get home. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back next week to cover high school recap of the final season and launch us into the playoffs.